Hello, everyone. This is Doug Schnitzman, and I am the editor of The Weekly, the digital magazine that we are currently publishing for Outdoor Retailer to keep you informed, give you resources, and give you a place to share your voices during this crisis. And this is the first episode of a webinar series we'll be doing called The Weekly Chat. Every week in The Weekly, we'll be introducing you to someone who has resources for you during this time. On Tuesday, when the magazine comes out, and then on Thursday, we will have one of these weekly chat sessions where we can go deeper into that discussion. Our guest today is Bob Phibbs, the retail doctor, and I had the pleasure of talking with Bob for the issue of the Weekly that just came out on Tuesday. Before we get started with the conversation with Bob, we'll go through a little ground rules with a few slides here. Listening to the webcast, it is being broadcast over the internet, and so you need to make sure that your computer's audio is available, unmuted, and the volume is turned up to an acceptable level when you're listening. If you're having any trouble, there's some information here on what you can do. Select the question mark in the upper corner of the webcast interface, select Test My System Now, and that will get you back on there. And you can always disconnect and rejoin the chat if you get knocked off. Next up, we are going to have questions during the event. We're kind of like if you have something you'd like to ask right in the heat of the moment, you can go ahead and submit it to us. And it's easy to submit these questions. You'll see a box labeled Ask a Question on the left side of your screen, and enter your questions there. And we can get to those. Next up, this event is being recorded, and it will provide live access to you later. You can access the on-demand file through your registration link, and it will be available 15 minutes after the end of the event. So all that said, I'd like to introduce Bob to you. Bob is the founder and CEO of The Retail Doctor, which is a retail consultancy based in New York. It specializes in brick and mortar retail solutions. Ever since 1994, he's been working with big name brands, including Lego, Yamaha, Husqvarna, which was one that got me excited, and even Sport Chalet when they were in business, as well as lots of small shops. He was named one of the top retail influencers of 2018, and his website and blog have been named the best on the planet for retail. And one tagline, I think, and one thing Bob's been talking a lot about recently is he likes to bring retailers hope, which I think is really important now. And that's not false hope either. He's just not another consultant. He really lives and breathes retail. And he has spent 30 years down in the dirty retail trenches, working his way up. So
wow,
why don't you take it away from there?
That's a great intro there. Thanks, Doug.
Sure. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us about what you do and how you do it?
I am passionate about brick and mortar retail, so I am here to hopefully give you hope. And I don't want to be Pollyanna, I don't want to be Voldemort, but I've been in business a long time, and I think that I've crafted my brand to be the voice of reason, the one of hope, but I'm also fairly blunt about my opinion. So if you are expecting me to be less than that, I would say, you should enjoy our conversation because Doug is a great interviewer. So there you go.
No, well, thank you. I think that we'll just get down to it then. And this is the first question I asked you when I talked to you for the Weekly, and we'll start here too. What do you think the most important thing that retailers who are currently closed should keep in mind right now and should be doing?
That's probably got two parts to it. So I think the first is to just understand what's happened. You didn't close your doors. That we have, as a country, as the world, we have had trust broken. So our trust in the government to keep us safe, public health to tell us what we should do, the whole debacle around masks. Oh, you should get masks. No, you shouldn't get masks. Well, they should be N95. No, they shouldn't be that. You should wear. Well, you shouldn't wear them. Well, wear them because of other people. Don't wear them. And it's become this whole thing. Then we have our own governments, like some are saying open early, some are we're going to stay locked down for another 3 months. And even our own families can bring something home to us that can kill us. So understand that you are doing more than just opening your store again. You are going to have to put the patchwork of trust back together. That's what brick and mortar retailers have always done. You provide that gossamer thread between human beings that make community. Most of those have been snapped now, and we have been in the Zoomified world where it's not even real. So getting our legs back is going to be a pretty big thing that you're going to have to help us do. And it's going to be a little hard when you're wearing a medical mask or something else. So I encourage you, one of the big things I'm encouraging my clients to do is go on, Etsy or something, or your local sewing retailer, and get like a black mask, let's say, or whatever color, and get your name on the outside so it looks like it's part of our uniform, because we have to be thinking how we got to build trust if, gosh forbid, we are going in with surgical masks, and in some cases there's going to be people with gloves, and you're going to be cleaning more than you ever cleaned, and it's going to feel awkward. So how do you bring normal to all of this is to realize, oh, I am here to bring trust back to people. And I think that helps all of us.
I love that about the personalized masks. I know that one of our contributors, Latreia Graham, made me a Harry Potter, a Gryffindor mask that I've been using. And how do you think that idea plays into it? Makes people feel more comfortable if you have a personalized mask or a fun mask, right?
I think fun is great. I think the danger is people are like, oh, I let all my employees come up with one. And I was talking to somebody the other day, and they said, oh, a friend of mine, she had one with little penises all over. So it was so funny. And I was like, that's a terrible mask. And she's like, why? Because of what's on it? I go, no. If they're small, what am I going to do? What are those? And that's not what you want, right? And then the other one, the guys are wearing like the Grim Reaper. Like, yeah, that's not appropriate right now. Trying to have fun with it and personalize it is great in a fun way. But what they're looking for, just take a look at people when they went to Costco or the essential retailers, right? That talked about, oh, I felt really safe there. They had sanitizer out front. They had everything roped off. Everybody had a mask, et cetera. And then notice when people on social media have said, oh, I went back to another store and half the employees didn't wear masks and they weren't really cleaning the carts. I won't be back. So understand those early adopters, those first people that come back to you are going to expect to see that you've got safeguards to let them trust you. And we would love your questions on this, by the way. We have almost 100 of you waiting. So jump in. What are your questions? What are you worried about? What are you trying to find out as an outdoor retailer? There's a lot of stuff that we're speaking about, but it's only effective if we answer your questions. So go ahead and type in down there where it's got the Q&A and join our discussion here. Didn't mean to interrupt. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. No. Yes, we, as I said before, we can take questions while we're talking, which is often the best time to ask them because you have something come up. And I think we're playing into something we talked a lot about in the magazine Q&A, which is that stores really have to prove that they're being sanitary and being clean and following all the rules to build trust with consumers, right?
Well, especially if you have things that are rented. I mean, somebody's renting canoes or they're renting tents or all that. How are we going to sanitize that? What are we going to do with that? It's a big deal. Music retailers, how do you sanitize a flute? And how do you have people be able to use them? And at the same time, what about, people are saying, oh, well, you're not going to be able to do this and this forever. So where does that go? We have to be proactive about getting the sport, about getting people back outdoors again and helping them understand that, hey, yeah, things are a little different, but we are going to help you find a way through it. But I think a lot of retailers think it's just a matter of unlocking the doors and we're back in business. And I'm telling you, I think that is a flawed assumption. The other thing I didn't answer before, Doug, was the other thing that has to happen is you have to have a meeting with your employees and you have to brainstorm what your plan is, and then you have to get them on board with it, and then have them sign off like, my question been answered, I know what I'm supposed to do, and I'm going to do it. And going forward, we're going to have to go through and add that to onboarding. This is not going away in a couple of days or weeks.
Yeah, and it looks like we did get a fairly specific question here that you might be able to answer. And Cara wants to know if there are any thoughts about how you keep textiles or soft products sanitary and how you can tell that's going.
So first off, I researched this before today, and all the medical experts say it is very unlikely you're going to get something from clothing or footwear. That said, most of the big boys have closed their fitting rooms, and they've said that when clothing comes back or after it's tried on, it'll go in the stockroom for 24 to 48 hours. I think all you need to be really careful about is understand being proactive. So if I was a apparel retailer, one thing I would do is I would have sanitary wipes or pumps or whatever, or pre-sealed, whatever it's going to be. Anybody who wants to try something on, I want to make sure that they use that they're going to wear a mask because I want something to cover their face, and I'm going to have a makeup shield if they're going to pull it over their head, so that I can minimize it. And then when they're done, I want them to use it back on their hands again. Reality is you could buy something online that no one's taken any precautions about, and you're going to be far less than if you come into a store. But also realize, 80% of a purchase, well, actually, no purchase is final until someone tries it on. So people are saying, well, we just have people buy it online. Yeah, and then return it, and you're going to pay both ways. It's going to be expensive. So just, again, come up with a plan you want to do, and then make sure that you have the steps to do it. Someone else, Ron, is asking, how do we sanitize clothing or footwear after try-on? Again, I think the same idea comes true. You can't sanitize by nature is going to mean some kind of alcohol product. You can't do that on leather. I mean, you can do it on nylon and some things like that, but I would still go through the same process. You're going to go through and you're going to sanitize your hands. They're going to have to buy a pair of try-on socks, or you're going to go through and give them to them. You're going to have to decide on that. Maybe you're going to give them gloves if they want to try them on, but you're not going to be able to be perfect about this. You're not going to get rid of all the risk. You just want to be careful that you do the steps and execute it the same every time to help minimize it. Because the other thing is you want to have that protection equipment for your employees, because gosh forbid if one of them tests positive, the health department's going to come over and say, well, who all they work with, they should be off for 2 weeks. So you want to be minimizing their exposure as well, but you don't want to get caught up in the, oh my God, everything is going to be terrible. You're going to have to find your way through it. I certainly think that the National Retail Federation, they have a 16-page booklet, which I have as part of I have a free course you can take afterwards. We have a slide for that you'll be able to sign up, or send an email to bob@retaildoc.com. We'll send you the registration link. But also the National Footwear Association is bound to have guidelines as well. But we're in uncharted territory. Up until a month ago, if you were to go back to your old self, Doug, and say, so, we should really get ready for sanitizing clothing and footwear, you'd be like, are you on crack? What are you talking about? And now we're playing catch up because we've never had to think about that. So as far as sourcing disinfectant wipes and sprays, I certainly think you want to talk to your local restaurant supply. You also want to talk to anyone that's in food service, because a lot of them are closed or they're not using it as much since they're not using tables. So those are ways to do it as well. Again, it is difficult. Find a way, because I think I'm seeing people like, well, I've tried and I can't get it. Find a way. Put your feelers out, talk to people on Facebook, tweet it, doesn't matter. Find a way, but don't use that as an excuse. Find a way to do with that. How should we deal with the customers not wearing a mask? So should I let you run the show, or should I be running through the question and answers, my friend? I'm like, Bob, just take off. Dude, seriously.
Yeah, I think we got a bevy of questions here that are all good questions. So I think you should just go down the list here and speak to people, because it looks like you've already got their trust. They want to know these answers. I'm
just like, bam, bam, knock them out. So somehow masks have suddenly become this blue state, red thing, this blue state, red state thing, this freedom, this government, all these other things. I would say, as a retailer myself, is that all we know about transmission is the reason you're wearing the mask is to keep any particles of your mouth from hopefully getting onto anywhere. Someone was saying that they can last up to 8 minutes after it. That's why you're doing it. So if you decide for your store to say no mask, no shoes, no service, then put it on your front doors, put it in your social media, make a video that says it. I encourage everybody to check out Third City Music. I'll have to double check that. I'll have to check that in a minute, but I will get it for you. But they made a video. It's a 6-minute video talking about the changes you're going to see in their business. It's up on YouTube. I encourage everybody to watch it. I'm going to try to find the exact name for you, my friend. There we go. What is it? Third Rock Music Center. They're in Cincinnati. Do a quick Google search. It's 6 minutes. It's the husband and wife talking about when they're going to open. Their hours are shorter, showing that they have plexiglass between the students and the teachers, that you can use their space for virtual concerts. But it spells it out. It's going to look different than you're used to. This is a time to over communicate to everybody. And what are you going to do with people that not wearing a mask? You're going to have to decide that. If you say to shop in my store, that's what you must have, then say it at the front, say it on the doors. If someone comes in without it and you say, I'm sorry, but you need to have a mask to come in here, understand someone is going to want to challenge you. And you say, I'm sorry, you might want to use our online site or do a curbside pickup, or maybe you want to do one-on-one appointments. But this is what we've decided. Because here's the problem. If you let them in, and it doesn't matter, when I come in with my mask and I see that guy, who am I going to hold responsible? The guy not wearing the mask or you? It's going to be you. I know it's a rotten time to try to figure this all out. I am totally with you, but decide on what that's going to be. And the same thing for your employees. That's why I encourage you to do go to Etsy and get them their name on it and say, this is part of our uniform standards. Instead of wearing a name badge, you're going to wear a name mask. And yeah, I wish we didn't have to do it, but at the end of the day, this is what it is. Jay is asking, what's the balance between wearing masks and implementing technology to support trust? Jay, I don't even know how to answer that, my friend. What's the balance between wearing masks and implementing technology to support trust? Well, let's be honest. If I put on a mask, and I don't have my mask, I didn't think I was going to be wearing it for this, but if I'm wearing a mask, you're seeing half of my face. Most of us would say that's creepy. That's, when I was a little boy, we put bandana on to, stick them up. So our goal is to realize that even with a mask, I have to make fun with it. So I would suggest you get a little, you can get a little whiteboard and say like, hi, it's Bob. Welcome. Glad you're here. I'm smiling underneath here. But you got to have fun with it, because the danger is you don't have your meeting. You haven't thought about these things. And ultimately someone comes in and they ask you, so how do you guys sterilize the oars after somebody rents a canoe? You're like, I don't know. That's somebody else's job. That's not going to help. Suddenly it puts a question mark behind your entire credibility as a business. So our goal is to over communicate and then really have a system. This is how we do it. This is how we don't do it. I hope that helps, Jay. Kelly, my number one question right now has to do with trying items on. I think I just addressed this. We may have to have our dressing rooms closed, which could be a deal breaker for lots of customers. I've wondered about steaming unpurchased clothing after try on, be a game changer. Again, there is nobody saying this is what you have to do. I would encourage you to check out the National Retail Federation. Just look under NRF retail opening and you'll get the PDF. You don't have to be a member to download it. Read what they say about it. All the big boys are looking at it. Some people talk about steaming, but even steaming, how hot does it have to be and how much? And the problem is that right now, if I'm opening tomorrow, May 15th, I'm going to do this really religiously. And when you go to the bank, are your employees going to do that religiously? Be honest. So that's why you want a system. And I think that's why most people are saying, just take the items, put them in the back. Someone who picks the items up, they put on their gloves, they go and they put them in the back and they hang them up. And a day later, they come back out. Maybe that's the answer. That would at least be a start. But make no mistake, whoever came in there, touched the handle to open the door, that's got to be sanitized as soon as they leave. They open the dressing room door, that has to be done. You have to spray off the mirror. Anything they could have touched, that's going to be it. So just understand, this isn't going to be a temporary thing. This is going to be with us for a while, and that's not easy. And I totally get what you're saying. Catherine, Doug, jump in.
Let me ask you a question there just to add on to that. I think how important are the optics in your store when you're looking at something like this? You know, even if it's not going to make a big difference, but if you're showing your consumers that you are steaming the clothes, that you're disinfecting the doorknobs every time, you know, that's really important that they're seeing this, right?
Absolutely. This is why anytime someone's doing it, I want the yellowest gloves or pink gloves or something that's going to look like, what the hell is that? So that we can see it from far away. Absolutely. I want to manage those optics so that there's not a question that if I see it, I'm like, oh, look at how they did that after, you know, that person left, they cleaned the counter, they went through. It's just really important that they go through and understand that we are managing expectations in a new way. That's kind of it.
Perfect.
And again, I think number 8, again, I don't know how to, do we just click answer? Is that it? And then they go away? I don't know.
I think just get on the line.
Yeah, you can't, if you click it, then it goes there. So anyway, again, the effectiveness of steam cleaning so it does not have to be held. I think it's the other way around. It's probably much easier for you just to hold it in the back for 24 to 48 hours. I can tell you that is what I just went through. Actually, I have all of this. I just went through and did apparel. Give me 1 second. I can read it to you exactly what's going on. And this is real as of today. So when I researched it, Gap's dressing rooms are going to be closed. Returns will be quarantined for 24 hours before being placed back on sales racks. Saks Fifth Avenue will keep all dressing rooms open, but fewer available, and they'll be cleaned after each use. Items tried on or returned are taken off the sales floor for 48 hours. Target has closed all their fitting rooms. Returned clothing items are being quarantined for 3 days before being placed back on the sales floor. Macy's will also have fewer dressing rooms with frequent sanitization, hold aside, return and fitting room merchandise. That's a tongue twister there. For 24 hours before bringing it back on the sales floor. DSW, any shoe returns or shoes that have been tried on will be removed from the sales floor to the back, where they'll be sprayed with a disinfectant and kept off the sales floor for 3 days. And also customers will be required to use hand sanitizer when trying on jewelry. Nowhere does anyone talk about steaming anything. I hope that helps. Again, I think, is it going to be the worst thing? Probably not. If you have a steamer and you already have it, great. And if you have the time to be able to use it, awesome. And if your employees know how to look at the care label and go like, oh, we shouldn't steam this, but we can steam that, I am totally there. So to your point, Doug, we do want to make a show of cleaning all the way through it. Make a big thing of that. Jay, do you see brick and mortar square footage needs from retailers being adjusted down based on more retailers have a better balance between online and in-store sales? I'm just struggling, Jay, with your questions today. The reality is there's going to be less merchandise in your stores because realistically you can't keep 6 foot distance from other people. If I have a 4 foot aisle or a 36-inch aisle, people can't stay 6 feet apart. So you're going to have to make your store one way. And that may require removing some of your merchandise. Again, for you who carry apparel, understand we're about to hit onto the mother of all clearance sales. Everyone, their uncle and brand and retailer is going to try to unload that merch that they had from the spring with pastels or bunnies or any number of things. And it's going to just be rocky. There aren't going to be enough places to get rid of that merchandise. So some retailers are looking at boxing up the basics, things that they might be able to sell in the fall, or that aren't necessarily so seasonal, and then bring them out in shifts so that it looks like they have new merchandise. Make no mistake, brick and mortar exists to answer questions from a customer, what's new? So when you reopen, your store should look brand new. Just unlocking the door isn't going to do it. It's going to have to look brand new. So move the men's that are on the left to the right, or vice versa, or the back to the front. And for God's sake, don't put up your sale merchandise that's 70% off at the very front and look like a garage sale. You need to look like you are here in business and you're managing your inventory. Doug, you have anything else to say before I go on?
No, I mean, I think we're back to the same thing. It was one of the things we want to focus on, again, as you said, which is the optics, which is something I think that was great when you and I talked, is you don't want to look desperate. You want to look in charge. You told me you don't want to be begging people to come into the store, saying that we need we need you to come in and spend $50 or else we're going to close, or we need you here, right? You don't want to look.
Or worse, buy a gift card from us or we're going to close. Because like, right. Oh, so we can give you $50, but you might not be here when I get ready to use it. So just managing all of that is really, really important. How you're handling clothing returns without being crazy. We're concentrating on anything that touches a person's face or mouth, pretty much like you have to stop at kayaks. I don't not agree with that, Carol. That's great. Are you transparent with your customers about this also, the process you take with try-on items? Yeah, that's why you want to make that video so that you can actually say, this is what we're doing, here's how we're working it. And I would still say if you have an online site as well, and this is what we're doing on the back end as well. People just need to see that. Is it going to be perfect? Probably not. Are you going to make it perfect every time? No, but you just want to say, we have a plan, here's how we're doing it. Astra, are customers asking for, or retailers providing details on their cleaning and disinfection protocols to the public? I haven't heard of anyone asking it, but I just went over what Gap and the rest are all communicating through their emails to customers and through their own sites. Again, I think I answered this with Neil. How do you have people try on clothing? Again, it might be too early when you first start to let that happen. But realistically, people are going to try it on. Even if you close your fitting room, someone's still going to try it on. So you still have to figure out, if they bring it back, what are you going to do? Are you going to hold it in the back, which sounds like that's what the big boys are all doing. Why not adopt that and go from there? Stephen, it's important to help restore trust, but how should retail staff respond to a customer enters a store who's visibly ill? Again, do your due diligence, Stephen, and come up with a plan. What is visibly ill? Again, COVID-19, most of us have been carrying it around and have no symptoms and don't even know we have it. So it's least likely us, and it's more likely someone's got allergies or the flu. But if you feel uncomfortable with them, you could say anyone that appears ill will be asked to leave. But it's fine for you as the owner to say that. Are you willing to say to Doug, who happens to be a minimum wage part-time employee who's going to high school, are you willing to say that he has to make that judgment? Because it's a really hard judgment to make. And again, I would encourage you to kind of get off of the what if bad things, because the bigger issue is how are you going to build trust and sell your merchandise? What we've just come out of is people buying online has skyrocketed. So those few who come back, those 20 or 30%, you're going to have to sell your way out of this. You're going to have to go through and do more to sell your full price merchandise than you've ever been before. Training is something that's going to have to happen with your sales crew, or else you're going to end up having them, being able to talk about how horrible COVID is. And yeah, no one's coming in and I'm worried about it. And I was going to go on vacation, but now I can't. And you have this dread when they come into your store. You're going to have to find a way to get hope into that. And all of these stories that we're talking about, I think we've kind of talked about that as well. What about ADA guidelines in regards to masks when stores mandate them? I don't know the answer to that. And if that's a burning question, Bailey, I would certainly say look on the ADA site and get that information. But the operational thing, should we take returns? I think you're going to have to take returns, David, because at the end of the day, you have agreements with MasterCard and Visa. And if I pay with a credit card, I can tell you in the early days of COVID, I heard suppliers that said, we're not going to take any returns back, destroy it in the field. We don't even deal with it because there's a lot we don't know. But are you going to be able to trace a sweater that somebody brought back yesterday and you put it on the rack, or you have it in the back and know why it's back there? There's a lot of logistics to think about, I think, right? I think we've answered a lot of these. I don't think we have to go through each one, Doug. Maybe Sarah can jump in, or you can jump in.
Yeah, I think you brought up something that I feel like is a common theme for you, and it was something in my introduction of you too, is this idea of hope, right? That we're selling hope, we're giving retailers hope, we're also selling hope. What are some effective ways that you think retailers can do that? Someone mentioned social media in one of these questions too. What are the best ways that retailers can communicate hope to customers and share it with staff?
Well, I think we're in this together messages we've heard over and over again from a lot of brands are okay, but now is the time to be thinking of, what are your plans for the fall? And your goal is to engage the brain, because basically we have three parts of the brain. There's a dinosaur down here at the bottom where fight or flight mechanism is. You know what that's like. You're going down the freeway, and all of a sudden the red lights are spinning. You're like, oh my God, you're breathing shallow and your heart's racing and you're sweating. And then there's the critical parent brain up here. Is this safe? Do I like this guy? Is this a good value? But the money where we buy is in wonder at the top. That's what your focus has to be. I understand there's a lot of concerns, and I get it. There's a lot of that. But make no mistake, you're a retailer first. And you're going to have to engage more shoppers into that wonder state at the top. And if you keep them in the, it's on sale this week, and, you know, and it's all a logical decision. Just remember, people go online to buy, meaning I saw this thing online. I want to buy this. I do a quick search. I bought it. I go to brick and mortar to discover, and I go to brick and mortar to get a feeling I matter. And that's going to show at the beginning, it's going to show the trust that you show in your sanitation and some of those things. But make no mistake, it's going to be in training your employees not to hold back, and certainly not to hang out together, because that's gone, right? Break rooms and lunch rooms where we all hang out or hang behind the counter. Well, that can't happen if we're maintaining 6 feet. So your employees are going to be more on their own now than they've ever been. And you're going to have to keep their minds engaged and learning. So brands are on this call, you know, sales reps, you should be talking to your clients and saying, hey, can I do a Zoom video for 15 minutes with each of your employees and go through, compare and contrast our products with somebody else's, or go through the benefits and all of that. And if you're the retailer, that's the kind of things. But we have to move on to, you're going to have to sell your way out of this. And selling hope is a big part of that, Doug.
Yeah, when we talked, you said you have to look at your social marketing and realize that it's a we issue, not a me issue, in the way we communicate to customers, right?
Well, you have to understand. So there they are. You know, most of us are working at home. We're in front of the monitor. We're tired. We're zoomed out. We're trying to find something to take us out of it. And your message comes. What's the message that's going to take us out of it? It's going to be, hey, we're just like you. We're waiting to get outside again, but we want to save for our employees and for our customers. So, and then talk about it, right? So here's the steps that we're going to be looking at to be able to open. Maybe you're going to open only to appointment only. Maybe you're going to go through and you're going to be able to talk to people about how you're going through, and you're looking forward to creating whatever it's going to be. Maybe you offer rock climbing, you're on excursions, or whatever it's going to be. Start talking about that. I was doing a webinar with a guy the other day, and he is in the sporting goods business, and he was talking about how, yeah, we haven't done our bird watching for a long time. I go, dude, why don't you do a virtual tour? He's like, I hadn't thought of it. Well, yeah, you can go out and do one, and then bring that joy of what you're doing to me sitting at my computer. And I'm like, oh, I look forward to the day I can do that with you. But this isn't the time to just say it's 20% off with a coupon or all of that stuff. Your goal is to nurture hope, and that's a lot harder than a lot of the other things that we're doing, right? Thomas, you're saying, how important is social media during this? It's not really a second grand opening. You really want to think of this as you opened a new store, Thomas, which is, you know, a grand opening for those who have, you know, opened a business. You always have that soft opening first, right? You got to, you know, do we know how to do this? Do we know how to do that? Do we, you know, we on our game? Do we have enough change? Do we, all of those kind of things. So when you open back up, it's really a soft opening. I'm not going to make a big grand opening like next week for one big reason. Most people aren't going to respond until we get through Memorial Day, until MLB starts announcing games, until there's a little normalcy going, till Starbucks, people are stopping at Starbucks. I think you're going to have a tough time getting people in, and just understand that, you know, maybe you're used to a $7,000 day and it might be $7,000, and that's okay because we're in a new metric. So be really careful about that, of calling it a grand opening. You know, I think that what you want to do is just gradually open up. You probably have limited hours. You have to limit the number of people in. You're going to have appointment-based, curbside delivery. But social media is the key. A lot of people, you know, just 3 months ago were saying, oh, my God, Facebook and all the privacy, right, Doug? My God, the privacy is just horrible on Facebook. I'm leaving. And yet, where did we do? Well, went right the hell back to Facebook, because that's where we communicate with our friends and family. In fact, Facebook is rolling out their Zoom equivalent to Facebook business pages through Messenger. So they're looking at ways that they can keep connecting with people too. So yeah, I think social media is totally where you want to spend your time, whether that's Instagram or whatever that's going to be.
I think there's a really good question here, Bob, especially considering our audience, which is what can brands do? How can brands be better supporting retailers, and how can that partnership be stronger during this time?
It's a great point. I think brands have to also understand that a lot of retailers, froze their credit cards. They're not taking orders. There's only so much that a brick and mortar store is going to be able to move merch right now. But I think you have to double down on making sure you do your due diligence and do more than just product knowledge. It's not, and this has a 3/4 tensile strength with aluminum catgut that's not helpful. It's like, who does your product speak to in this day and age? It's a new customer, right? They have different priorities than they might have had. So how does it fit into this retailer's point? The other thing I'm recommending all of my sales reps is to use BombBomb, and it's just like it sounds, 2 bombs together, BombBomb video. You can get a free count for free for 14 days, and you can try it out, and you make a 30 or 40-second video, and you just say, hey, Doug, you're our #1 best client for X brand. I want to support you as much as possible. Here are 3 ideas of what we can do. 1, I want to get on a Zoom call with all of your employees this week before you reopen. But you know what? Before you get on that call, you got to know that they're going to be reopened. So I would go through and find on your social handle who is open and who isn't, so you know who you're talking to. Then you're going to talk about how you're going to help them move the merchandise. You're going to help merchandise it. You're going to come up with taking pictures around all your other clients to show them what they're doing on social media. Maybe you're going to do a Pinterest board for them. The point is, for all of you, you're bringing hope. That's why people go into a brick and mortar store. I'm hopeful. I lost 20 pounds. I want to go out with a walk with my kids. I just got married. I just got divorced. Whatever it is, they're coming in filled with hope. They're not coming in to have let us know if you need anything. We're maintaining social distancing. I don't need that. I want someone to make me feel better and more alive than I did before. So hope is what you have to bring social brands. Your brand has to represent hope as much or more than it ever has, and then be that partner to help figure this out. But it's got to be more than the old days, bringing a dozen donuts. Here, Doug, how's it going? Oh, it's really slow. Yeah, it's really slow here. I don't know. We had lost like 5 accounts the other day. Oh, great. I did talk to a big bike conference a few years ago, and I did visit a lot of bike stores. And the shocking thing to me was almost everyone had the same story. A bike store goes out of business every day. It's like, how did you learn that? Oh, from our sales reps. You're kidding me. So be careful, sales reps, that you don't let bitter Ned or bitter Betty or whoever come in and be pouring water on your new shirts of growth, which are retailers finding hope. They've got to match that and say, we're going to get through this together, because that is what leads people to want to follow you. That's what makes people think, oh, I want to carry that brand. Not just that, oh, they gave me dating. They've got to feel something, and it's tangible. And that goes for whether you're an outdoor retailer, whatever you sell.
Let's take a moment maybe to talk to, I think one of the things we ended with our Q&A in the magazine is specifically, outdoors. We like to think we have a special advantage on who we are and what we do and our customers. Do you have any advice specifically for us in the outdoor space, in the bike space? Someone has a question here about travel. Is there any advice you have specifically for what we do and how we can take advantage of that in this time?
My marketing would be escape the news with us. And you are freedom. You are that little boy or little girl who, when they first learned how to ride a bike without training wheels, you're on your own. That's what you're selling, kids. That's why I go camping. When I'd go camping at Mount Palomar down by San Diego, that's why I go on a bike ride on my electric bike. That's why I do a lot of things. That's why I got a nice camera so I can go out and enjoy nature. That's what you're selling. You're selling freedom. You're selling hope. So just being really careful that you don't get caught up into product. It's about, we have this widget and it's on sale for 20% off. That's just not going to work, because the consumer is going to hear nothing but promotion after promotion after promotion. And ultimately, it's that experience that you craft can't be the same one that you did before. You have to get out of the mindset, we're reopening. You have to get in the mindset, I'm opening a new, better business. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And we were also seeing that we might see customers we've never seen before during this. Supposedly more and more people are getting outdoors, and more people are going to stick to getting outdoors. And that those customers might be people that our usual retailers aren't used to talking to or engaging with. So we need to be aware of them.
And I think you're fishing for something I must have said in the article, and it's escaping me, my friend. But the one thing I would say is just to realize that one of the things I'm hearing is how many people are selling entry-level products. And the reason you sell entry-level is because your employees don't know how to sell. So it's easy to sell at the bottom. And let's face it, your employees have been furloughed maybe, or they're shell-shocked, or they can't pay rent, or they made more on unemployment than you pay, or fill in the blank. So they're going to sell from their own wallet. And the danger of that is, especially if you have a premium brand, you're watching this, you're a great outdoor brand, like I could name them, but I don't know who's on. Your products are probably going to sit because the employee's going to start at the bottom and say, and so this does everything you want. Great, I'll take it. Well, we also have this one. No, you said this is all I need. And so just being really careful that people who come in still deserve the full good, better, and best presentation of your items, because online is cold, it's fast, and yeah, it might be based on price. And if you don't provide a better experience, it's more human. Your employees aren't checking out their personality when they walk in the door, but adding to it, then I think you don't give people a feeling they matter. And the problem is that people who feel they matter buy more. So if you can't get that feeling, if you haven't trained your employees how to do it, especially with a mask, then I think your competition is going to get the sale. And in that moment, that newbie comes in, they don't know anything about you. They're going to give you a tougher time. And also realize that the money is not in the people that already like you. They're going to do whatever. They're going to love you no matter what. What you care about is that new person that comes in, because they've got to have a raving experience that they say, wow, that was better than going to a big box. That was better than going online. That's my store, which goes to somebody's question about social media. Social media is where you build your tribe of people who feel that same way. I mean, there's a reason I have 400,000 people who follow me on LinkedIn. I've cultivated a tribe. About 16,000 follow me as the retail doctor on Facebook. I spent a lot of time saying, this is the tribe that if you get me, this is what I'm going to give you in return. So you want to think about that same thing. And to your point about social media, it's called Facebook. It's not called Product Book. Quit putting up a picture. We have this item and it's 20% off. That's not what it's for. Go live. Go live and do something. Teach somebody something. Educate them somewhere. But don't forget that it's about being more authentic in a digital medium. And I just want to answer Sarah's question, how important is signage? I think it is important. I think if I was doing your windows, which don't forget your windows right now, some people put up nice rainbows and that's great. And with a motivational tag, I think that's great. Or we'll be back, that's great. But I would certainly go with escape the news with us and make it clear and change out your windows. And whatever your policies are, if they're going to be no mask, no shirt, no service, put it big, don't apologize for it, put it at eye level, put it on social media, and then in the store, have some signs that also can intrigue, and they're not just stay 6 feet away from us all, because you may not have as much staff on. You may, let's face it, not all your staff was worth bringing back. So until you get up to speed, until we get our hours up, your merchandise is going to have to try harder to make the sale. But remember, your goal is to get 2 items out the door and not 1. If you're footwear, if you're in shoes or something, your goal is to get a naked foot in front of you. Because someone trying on the shoe is going to make the sale a lot more than just looking and saying, how much is this, or do you have this in a 9? And that's going to be challenging for us. But so what? That's the real work, is to figure out, how do I take what I did and do it in a new way?
You want to clean up on any of these other small questions here before I get some for you?
Okay, I'm a sales manager and I sell bags and luggage with travel down. How do we work with our retailers to help them focus on and sell a category that's slower? With what messages sales associates need to inspire we get out and travel again? I wish I had an answer for you. Ainsley, I'm not sure. Travel's down 90%. I mean, 90%. Until people feel comfortable, I don't see, again, if I walk into your business and I see luggage and I'm looking at it, then I think that's one thing. But you're not going to magically make luggage sales go up. We're just in a bad time right now. It's going to come back. There's going to be delayed purchases, no two ways about it. But now is the time to be focusing on training and comparing and contrasting. I think that one of my very first clients was a small little hotel in Newport Beach, California. We didn't have an advertising budget. And all I wanted to do is, if someone's coming to Newport Beach, I want to be the one that they consider for a smaller property. I can't get you from Phoenix to come to Newport. And it's the same way here. I can't get the world to start traveling again, right? Until airlines are not on the precipice of disaster, until people feel like, oh, I can get on a plane, or hotels are opening up, is that going to happen? So I just think you sow seeds and make sure that you're of service. Everything I'm telling every sales rep is you're being of service now to sell later, and coming with ideas and coming with training that people can actually use, not just saying, let me know if you need anything. And I know that's not the great answer, but that's where we're at. There isn't going to be great answers for everything. Thomas, how can brands best support retail with their social media? Where, if you want to, time check at 4:45. What do you want to do? Do you want to cut this out, Doug? Do you guys want us to cut out? Should we stay going? You let us know. No.
I think
what do you want to do?
I think it's nice to get through some of these questions a bit, but then we can keep it short and tight. So let's go with that brands and social media question for now, and then I'll come back after two more of these questions.
You might have to teach your brands how to use social media. That would be one thing that, again, not just putting up another picture, but what's a new way to do it? How do you take your product, go out in the wild, use an iPhone? What are some tips that somebody could use to do it? One of the things that is happening is more people are picking up new hobbies and trying new things, but you've got to get over that fear of being a newbie. So what kind of things could they say on social media to attract new people to feel safe when they do pick up hiking or camping or kayaking? I live in the Hudson River's outside of my window, and I picked up a kayak a few years ago, but I probably thought about it for 10 years because I was afraid, what happens if I capsize and all these other things? And then finally, when I went in the store, the guy answered all my questions. We'll answer all those questions ahead. And I do have a great point for you I just thought of, Thomas. Social media. Here's the thing you need to do if you're an outdoor retailer. Take your category and put how to in front of it in Google. How to outdoor retailer. Okay, that would be one thing. How to camping, how to hiking, and look at those top 3 posts that are there and do a live video about it and answer those questions because you're in the Montauk Valley and it's unique to you. Or talk about a park that's right by you and how to take those same ideas, give them 3 tips about how to get the most out of it. What's the most common thing people are worried about when they buy new hiking boots? I'm going to get a blister. Great. Here's 3 ways to prevent blisters when you buy new hiking boots. And by you keep talking about hiking boots, guess what? They're going to realize, oh yeah, I could use a new pair of hiking boots. And they're going to choose you over a Zappos or something else. I hope that helps, Thomas. I have a fashion travel store for 25 years. Nice blend of clothing and luggage and travel. A lot of people laid off. I'm not sure how to answer that, Claire. I'd say if your vendors aren't communicating with you, they probably don't know what to say to you. So you could certainly reach out to them. I don't have an answer. Sorry about that. Steve, hey, in the article you state your goal is selling the magic of outdoors. Can you expand the statement? You're selling adventure. You're selling hope. You're selling a nighttime sky. You're selling, I get to see the dawn break. I get a chance to get away from my nag of a job. I get a chance to impact my little boy's education. I get a chance. That's what you sell. And so your goal and all your social media, all your messaging is, that's what people want, and I have the key for it. I'm going to make it safe for you. I'm going to keep it fun, and it's going to be a lifetime experience you're going to have. And you're going to find different ways to say that message, or that becomes your tagline, and then it becomes your North Star. You say, I'm selling hope. I am selling the magic of outdoors. But you've got to get out of the idea that I'm selling a widget, because nobody is excited. You didn't grow up when you were 7 years old saying, I'm going to sell a widget. You ended up having a chance to have fun, stay. Oh, people had Claire, stay. That's pretty funny. Yeah, should we stay or go? Stay. What question do you have? I've monopolized the conversation, dude.
No. I think it's great for us to be able to. I mean, I think it's great. You're just like a doctor that someone bumps into here, where someone can ask all their questions about whatever ailment they have. I think it's working well to take all these questions. Cool. I think a big one we were all wondering, though, which is important from a nuts and bolts standpoint, is about bringing employees back from furlough. There's a lot of discussion about that now, especially when some are on unemployment or maybe have found other jobs. Do you have any advice about bringing employees back to work and back to the job?
They better be 100% committed. I'm only bringing back the people that I want to have. Just because they worked for you, if they weren't good before, don't take it as I have to bring them back. And you know what? If they come back and they have a bad attitude, or they're not following your procedures, or they go, this is bullshit. I guess I said that live. Sorry. No 10-second delay. If you allow them to stay, you are crippling your business, because you know what? You don't have the luxury of a negative thought right now. I don't have the luxury of bitter Ben to come into work and pretty much rain on my parade, because customers are coming in. We just had this conversation with hope. Their hearts are wide open. Hey, I'm glad to be here. And you're like, yeah, well, I blew a flat on my car today and I was late, and we're down 3 people, so I have to go wait on them too. Just realize you're shooting yourself in the foot, and you are going to be known for the compromises you make with bringing these people back, not your successes. That's true of all businesses, right? We're not known for our success. We're known for our compromises. We're known for the things that we didn't really think of, the things we really didn't have thought out. And that's why I do a whole webinar on how do we bring hope back and reopening to build trust, because it's a complex subject. And that's why I have a free course at the end. Can you show that slide for them, Doug, that slide at the end that's got the free course you can take? And it's a little bit.ly link. You can sign up. You can go deeper in everything I've talked about, pivoting conversations. How are you going to greet people with a mask? All of these things. But make no mistake, you got work to do. It's up. Thanks, Guy. You got work to do. And if you think that it's going to be easier, guess what? It's not going to be easier. Imagine being Macy's, 850 stores. How many do they get to reopen? I don't know. Imagine being a number of bigger retailers. Here's the thing. We're all in the same boat, because the consumer is freaked out right now. The consumer is trying to figure out what is normal. And you know where normal is going to come? It's going to come through social media. It's going to be with them saying, the heck with it. I'm taking an hour off to go for a hike. Oh, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. I need a little instruction. And you have to be there to welcome them in a new way. You've got to be there in a way that says, I have time for you right now. You have to be there in a way that says, I'm going to care for you, not wait on you. If you expect them to come in and say, yeah, do you have this sweater I saw online? And you say, no, well, you're dead. If somebody comes in, do you have the sweater I saw online? Would you be interested in the same or better? Sure. And why did that work? Because I got them up into wonder. And that's where the marketing, that's why I do sales training all day long. My online training, Sales RX. If you're not willing to change, then I think you're going to be left behind, because the consumer is jilted. And what passed for service 3 months ago is just not going to be up to speed. You're going to have to build a relationship and become that trusted advisor. And I think I have probably used up my time. Do you have anything else to ask me, dude?
I think my last question for you would be this. In your gut, what do you think? Are we going to have a resurgence where people who've been locked up are going to be just dying to get out and dying to support stores and brick and mortar and be out there? Or are we going to have a population that's really afraid and stays in and doesn't do this anymore? Or is it going to be something in between?
I was going to say, you're making it an either or. I think the reality is, I think we're on the cusp of a new hedonism. I absolutely believe that people are going to be back. I think they're going to be buying. I think they're going to be looking to treat themselves, realize, holy crap, I could have died because I took a plane ride, or I shook hands with a stranger or whatever. And I think that is However, I'll also tell you that if you were a shoddy retailer and you really didn't care about the guest and you really didn't care about customer service and you just pretty much have a warehouse of product, I think you're going to have a really tough time until you get the message that we're only going to reward people that give us a feeling that we matter and that we really look at what is a branded experience. And this goes for the brands that are watching too. You know, your brand might be available by online, might be at the big box, might be with the boutiques, might be with the outdoor retailers, might be in a million places. Are you going to be more selective about who carries it? I would hope so. And make sure that they are living up to a brand standard that says, this is who we are. We are in a we moment, not in a me moment, which means vendors and better retailers are going to have to join forces and say it's different here. And I think, you know, when we see that, we are going to see the best are going to rise from this. They're going to come out of it and realize, wow, we dodged a bullet. We're going to take it. It might be slow right now, but you know what? We're looking to the future, and we are going to look to a significant fall increase, and we're going to make this up in the next 12 months. But we're also not going to kid ourselves. This is going to have ups and downs. There's going to be days that it's going to be like, holy crap, this is horrible. But you're going to mind your mind. You're going to mind your mind. And the last thing I would say is you're going to have to mind what you allow in there. Leaving the news on for 24/7 is not going to help you. Leaving this phone by your bedside every night is not going to help you. It's going to tweet or cluck or say, even worse is coming. And it's all going to be predicated with it might, it could, it should. It's not real. This is not the jackpot. This is a fear device. That's what it is. And so you're going to have to manage what you allow in your head because it's going to come out here. And ultimately, what comes out here affects your destiny as a brand, as a retailer, as a salesperson, and as an industry. And as outdoor retailers, we need you because we need to get out. We are selling hope. We are selling the magic of getting outdoors. Are you up to the challenge? Look at the mirror and ask yourself tonight, am I up to it? And if you're interested in changing, I'm here to help you. But don't think that someone else is going to give you hope first. You got to find it in you. Doug?
That sounds like a fantastic place to sign it off, and we're right at the hour now too. And I'll put the slide back one more time of the retail doctor down here.
And my last thought is, in hope, I am fearless. You have to use that as your mantra. In hope, I am fearless. Let's do this. Let's get to work.
Great place to close. Bob, it's been really a pleasure to have you on here. And hopefully people on here have learned a lot. I think we were able to answer a lot of questions and have a good conversation. I hope everyone's going to join us next week for the next one of these when we are going to have Chris Goddard from CGPR. And we're also going to have Ashley Williams, who's the Senior Director of Global Marketing at Keen. And they're going to be talking about communication, talking to the media and all that during this, like, you know, you talking to me, Bob. So,
there you go.
Thanks to everyone. Thanks especially to you, Bob. And I think everyone has information on how to see more of your webinars and more of what you do. And we can provide that to them if they need it.
Perfect.
I want to thank everybody, and hopefully we'll see you next week.